just sort of en route. But I did just feel, and welcome Libra, I did feel compelled to do it right now. So I might do another one here real quick. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going back to the connection. Doesn't necessarily have to be love, romantic. This can be just a general connection. But someone who is dominantly on your mind, and that would be more specific to that kind of situation. So again, doesn't have to be necessarily romantic. But what I am seeing here is starting off with a Hierophant. This is the main energy out. Of course, it does represent any long-term commitment, any kind of union, anybody where you're in an established situation. So there is some kind of history here. There is also something here following up with the devil energy. So there is some level of toxicity in around this connection. Certainly does look to be like there could be some distance for sure. We are then moving into the Eight of Pentacles, and I'm going to clarify all of this too. This is just the general energy. But the Eight of Pentacles does mean that there is something still at work, something still at play. And again, just general energy, and then we'll go through all the details and summarize it. And then we have the Empress. So this again could be a mother figure. This could be someone who is fairly well off, or somebody who does, fairly abundant and looks after themselves, that kind of thing. But there is energy here either way that suggests that there is something off for sure. Now, I'm going to go through all the clarifiers here as well. But again, we'll go through some of the combinations. So right now, when I look at this, I mean, we are looking at something that you're having to leave behind. So there's obviously something where there's a bit of a parting of sorts. So I'm going to say that with the Eight of Pentacles and the Magician, that is certainly something that's more favorable. There is going to have to be a lot of hard work that's sort of required to sort of make this, make this move. But overall, it does indicate that there is some kind of emotional distance. I mean, obviously with the Devil and the and this could be Libra energy, could be Capricorn energy, and certainly there is definitely, what else do I have out here? Libra coming through more than once, though. Taurus energy is also here as the main ones. Aries is a little bit further down, but it's more of a clarifier, so I'm not really going to take that as a part of the overall energy that is most significant. So again, I do see this as a long-term commitment where there is some issues where you're having to kind of part ways to a certain degree. So I feel like there's potential here if the effort is sustained, but I feel like there's a lot of determination in pushing through this because there are a lot of cards here that indicate that there is, some communication breakdown for sure. So again, when we get to the Eight of Cups, like I say, next to the Devil, I mean, there is something here that is carrying deep emotional pain, possibly struggling with the idea of letting go here as well. That Devil does suggest that there is a very strong attachment, but there's also a very unhealthy dynamic. And that King of Swords represents that there is definitely some boundaries up here. And this could be in regards to legal matters, contractual matters as well for others. But there's a lot of rigidity in this connection. When we get over here to the Eight of Pentacles, this does indicate that there is some work to be required. You know, hard work in the situation is required and able to get through this and able to shift it. The Magician does suggest that you do have, of course, all the tools and able to make something happen or influence the outcome, or you can certainly be strategic in the way that that you move about resolving this. But again, overall, the energy does suggest that there is a nurturing quality to it as well. The Empress does indicate that there is nurturing. There is still that possible, again, maternal sort of energy, and it is followed up by the Chariot. And that does tell me that there is some momentum. So generally, it's more of an aggressive or assertive energy, and it does feel like a decision of some sort. And this could be in around the Libra energy as well, and able to move forward. But there's also this, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy that is moving forward with a fair amount of power, with a fair amount of decisiveness. There, almost, it's a really good balance between the positive and I shouldn't say positive, negative, but the masculine and the female energy. But I feel like it's predominantly masculine energy that is moving ahead, that you're moving ahead with, and able to get through the situation. So I do feel like overall, like I said, nurturing energy is here, but the Chariot does suggest that forward momentum, even if that change is slow and things are not permanently stuck. It just, you're just in that space where it does suggest there's some divine timing and patience that's required here, because there is some very heavy energy. Now, we also had the Nine of Wands that came out here. The nines, hi, Nuncristia. I don't know how to say your name there, but glad you stopped by, guys. But yeah, so I mean, the Nine of Wands does suggest to me that this was a long, enduring battle, of wits and all the rest of it. So you're tired, but your perseverance will pay off here. We also have kind of a time frame as well that I would suggest, even though some of that's a little bit of a gray area, but there is something here about a time frame, because the Eight of Cups, next to the Eight of Pentacles, we do have the two eights, does kind of indicate that this is it's a suggestion that the connection to the number 8 could mean, August or 8-month cycle. So there is something around that. Now, the Chariot is, you could be also dealing with a Cancer as well coming through here. That's very strong, and very, it's like there's a lot of dominating kind of energy here as well, a lot of masculine energy. But that does indicate there could be June and July is where it's indicating some kind of a movement in that time frame. But when we get to the Nine of Wands, this is the prolonged energy that kind of suggests that you're nearing the end of the hardest phase. It's not quite over yet, but you are nearing the end of the hardest phase. So again, there's a lot of things here that show progress, and it could again appear within about an 8-month or late summer, July, August sort of time frame before there's any real connection that starts to show. But again, that possible time frame, does suggest, again, still 8 months, possibly summer, July, August, before there's any full reconnection. It might take a little bit longer, potentially up to 9 months to a year. But overall, you're going to see shifts in the progress, throughout that period. So 8 months is definitely very significant here, because of the two that I'm seeing offhand. But again, July, August, it feels like that's when there is an actual shift. Now, there is the overall message that, of course, this is a very painful road for you to be going down. It is, does suggest that if you persist, again, there's external factors that might be at play. For some of you, it might be more of a legal issue or an emotional wound or power struggles. There's barriers for sure. But if you focus on a strategy, which is where the Magician energy comes in, and hi Nova. Anyway, take it as it resonates. But when I see the Magician energy here, that does suggest that there is some kind of strategy that's being that's underway. So again, there is something here that kind of speaks to persistence with the Nine of Wands. There is a way forward, and as far as kind of moving ahead with a decision, I would still say the changes that are required will be more around structure and authority. So I feel like there's possible, traditional systems for sure, family matters, family expectations, spiritual guidance, legal matters, all of that sort of comes into play here as well. So whether that's going to a church situation, whether that's dealing with psychology or counseling or something like that, all of those things might be relevant here. But there's also, again, with that Hierophant, and it is clarified by the Eight of Cups. So again, it does suggest a deep sense of disconnection from a structured system, or from that legal arrangement, or from that family expectation, or that dynamic. But whatever your beliefs around that situation, it still tells me that you're kind of forced to walk away from something that you once respected or believed in either way. And again, it might require a mediator or a counselor or a lawyer, or some kind of spiritual influence, might be playing a role in the situation, especially with the King of Swords here. So again, Devil is kind of, out here as showing up with that combination as a power struggle of sorts. So again, there's something here about, there's just something here that kind of represents as a difficult situation where you've got some boundaries up. But I feel like you will be making a decision irrespective of, because there is an indicator here with the Chariot. So again, we do have some kind of nurturing, some kind of motherly energy. And again, whether this is you or someone else here with that Empress energy. But again, you're moving slowly, but you're determined, but it's very determined movement. So it's a need for patience, faith in what's, going forward. And again, you're almost to that final stage with that Nine of Wands energy. So again, you just have to push through this a little bit longer, because there is something here that suggests, again, it's necessary to push through despite you're feeling exhausted, stand your ground, that kind of thing, because this is around an 8-month cycle. Something is shifting in around the August time frame, but around Cancer season, you're going to see some kind of movement in that period. Nine of Wands, again, is implying that the hardest part is pretty much over and there's just one last final push. So again, if you're in this tough cycle, if this is you that I'm speaking to, just know that there is a path forward. Stay resilient, stay strategic in your actions. Don't just jump right in and just take what's coming. I mean, you actually have to sort of plan around things as it's coming out. So in other words, whatever's thrown your way, you're going to have to stop, step back, objectively view it, and then kind of, think your way through it rather than externally reacting. Don't make it a trigger situation. So again, just to finalize everything here, it is blocking your progress in some way, of course, because again, the Hierophant next to the Devil, there is some kind of blockage that you have to navigate through carefully, because there is sort of a bit of a resistance for sure. And I do feel like overall, again, there's a lot going on here that requires so much persistence and strategy that I feel like you have to kind of just take one step at a time. Like I said, there is a controlling force, controlling energy that comes through with, somehow impacting you in that way anyway, with the Devil as well as the King of Swords. So it's a controlling force of possibly some kind of legal authority. Definitely emotionally detached person. Could be a manipulative dynamic here as well. Definitely indicates some kind of power struggle, rigidity, and boundaries up, legal battle, possibly, like I said, that might be preventing the connection from going forward. But whatever this toxicity is, could even be drugs or something like that, or some other, toxic thoughts, all of that. But either way, hard work is necessary in this situation and able to create change. So again, Magician does indicate that you are moving in the right direction, or the situation is moving in the right direction. But again, tools are in your hands. So you're going to have to kind of wait to see, how each decision that you make impacts the connection as a whole. Because the shift, I feel, is going to require some, maneuvers. And I do feel like it will influence the situation positively. So again, with that Empress energy out there, just as sort of a final kind of recap, strong maternal energy does play a major role. Again, this could be just, somebody who is representing as a Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, but it does feel like there's something here about divine timing. It won't happen as quickly as you're thinking or hoping, but you're nearing the final stretch. So again, it's just a final push before you get to that breakthrough moment. And again, could be dealing with a Cancer, could be also dealing with a father figure here as well. But again, it's nearing the end of the struggle. So 9 months to a year for a full resolution, but there is going to be some shifts in around the 8-month period. Again, shifting somewhere in about the August time frame. And then, as I say, late June, July could also bring some kind of a movement. Again, this is like a battle of endurance. That combination with the Magician and all of this does suggest that you're not powerless. You can influence the outcome. The obstacles, of course, are the Hierophant Devil and the King of Swords. So this is where you're going to have to, persist with the right actions. And that will, eventually turn the situation around in your favor. Anyway, for those that are interested, that's what this is for Libra. And this is just coming through as a general sort of, even though I'm reading it in March, but it's obviously going to affect the time frames that I mentioned. Keep moving forward, guys. And whether you believe in tarot or not, everybody needs support out there, guys. So whatever you can do to inspire one another, keep going. And I'll see you in the next read.